maybe you're talking to your manager, maybe you're talking to a boss. So it might be more appropriate to talk indirectly. And direct speech is, you know, you can keep it for the family, you can keep it for your close friends. So it's just a variation. One of them is a little more polite than the other. And we talked about some examples, even though the meaning is the same. So we covered all of this in our last lesson. Here, we didn't do this one. This is just, this is an intonation exercise. They're trying to get the point that if your voice is too flat, it kind of sounds rude, right? It means you're not interested, you're bored, maybe you're just angry, whatever, but it shows that you're not polite, or at least the listener, this is what he or she will think. So here we're going to listen to the same sentence. We're going to hear it twice, okay? It's actually not a sentence, it's a question. It seems to be a question, number 4. Listen to the same question said twice. Which one sounds more polite? Is it A or is it B? So yeah, we'll find out. Let's see. In the first one, it's A, which is used as an example. Now, but I think we need to listen to them to decide. Not in all situations, of course. I mean, not in all the sentences you'll hear A being more polite. Sometimes it's the other way. It's the other way around. Okay, so track 2. What is it? 26. Okay, here we go.
Track 26. 1. A.
Could you tell me what time it starts?
B.
Could you tell me what time it starts?
2. A.
If he's been invited.
B.
Have you any idea if he's been invited?
Which one do you think is more polite? The first or the second?
B.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's kind of obvious, but let me, so we don't have to do it again. B. Okay, let's listen to number 3 now.
3. A.
Can you tell me when they're arriving?
B.
Can you tell me when they're arriving?
Which one, A or B, is more polite?
B. The A.
A or
No,
B?
B.
Are you sure?
أعوذ بالله.
Okay.
Can you tell me when they're arriving?
Okay, I'll
A.
Can you tell me when they're arriving?
B.
Can you tell me when they're arriving?
Uh-huh.
A.
A.
A is more polite.
Yeah, A is more polite.
Four. A.
Do you know whether we've booked them a hotel room?
B.
Do you know whether we've booked them a hotel room?
Which one?
5.
A or B?
I would say B.
It's B. B. Her voice was.
flat.
26.
I'll tell you.
Can you tell me when they're arriving?
B.
Can you tell me when they're arriving?
I think this was number 3.
4.
Oh.
A.
Do you know whether we've booked them a hotel room?
B.
Do you know whether we've booked them a hotel room?
I don't know if you've noticed, but sometimes in some British accents, the word room is done with a schwa. I don't know if you've noticed this, Naha. They don't say room, room.
Room, yeah.
Room, yeah.
5. A.
Do you think we should email everyone again?
B.
Do you think we should email everyone again?
B.
Yeah. Of course, here with the whole point of the exercise, they're basically they're making high intonation equivalent to being polite. I think if the question was which one had a higher intonation, it would have been easier, right?
Yeah, that's the idea, yeah.
Yeah, that's the idea. Of course, this is true, but being polite is not only your tone. Of course, there are lots of things, the choice of words, direct or indirect speech, body language. There are, many factors, but here I think they're focusing mainly on intonation. I think for us, at least for Libyan people, I don't think this plays a very important part, the whole issue of intonation. I don't think we focus too much. It's not equivalent.
No, it's important.
I think it's important more with children right now. I think because with children, usually we focus on our tone. We try to talk, when for example, a mother or an aunt, or maybe when I talk with some of the kids in our family, I usually, oh, you finished this. That's so beautiful. That's a great drawing. I talk in this way. I'm trying to be friendly to the child. But I think with adults, we don't do it as much. I don't know, maybe.
No, I don't know about men, but for women, yeah, we do it.
It's a normal thing.
Every time, yeah, it's normal because you can it gives you an impression that that person is not happy with you, or vice versa.
So you use your tone to convey emotion to the listener.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah.
You can understand from his voice tone. نقول احنا من نبرة صوته فهمته يعني.
Yeah, they always make jokes because they say women never listen to the content of what you say. They listen to how you say it.
You say it, yeah.
Yeah.
I think with men, it's maybe we care, of course, but I think we focus mainly on the message more than the way it's said. But I think, you sometimes have to also pay attention to how it's, how it's been said. Yeah, I mean, it does make a difference, right?
It's gender matter.
Maybe it's a gender thing, yes. Anyway, so this is the only point here. Listen and practice this. I think we can skip this. We get the point. All right, let's do number 6. Now, number 6, here we want to make indirect questions, okay? Now, let's see if we have all the parts. Okay, so this one is not too hard. You have all the parts in front of you. It's not a prompt. It's a full sentence, just disorganized, not in order. So the first one is, can you tell me whether this is Mr. Maxwell's office? Okay. Now, number 2, Brahim.
Yes.
Can you organize the sentence and make it into an indirect question?
Okay. Think anything we will use Elizabeth at tomorrow. Do you think Elizabeth will be at the meeting tomorrow?
That's it. Do you think Elizabeth will be at the meeting tomorrow? Can you change this to a direct question? Is
Elizabeth coming to the meeting tomorrow?
Okay, the meaning is correct, but if we wanted to use the same exact words we have, just start with will, right?
Will Elizabeth
that's it.
Be at the meeting tomorrow?
That's it. But your first one is also the meaning, at least it's kind of the same.
Polite, yeah.
All right, now.
Is that more polite?
The last one is more polite?
لا.
Yeah, with do you think, right?
Do, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little more polite. It's, softer. Okay, number 3, Noham.
Could you tell how long he has been working here?
I think you missed something. Could you tell? Could you tell who?
Could you tell me?
Yes.
Could you tell me how long he has been working here?
That's right. Could you tell me how long he's been working here? And if it's if you want to change it into a direct question, how would that be?
Do you know how long he has been working here?
That's another indirect question.
How long?
That's it.
How long has he been working here?
That's right. How long has he been working here? This is a direct question. Right. Number 4, Brahim, yes, you can do number 4.
Okay. When do you know when Asmi and Ali are going on holiday?
Right. Do you know when Ismay and Ali are going on holiday? And if it's a normal direct question?
When Asmi and Ali are going on a holiday.
I think you should say when and then use verb to be directly.
Going to.
Before going.
Verb to be.
So when
Asmi and Ali are going.
When are.
I'm going to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so when are Ismay and Ali going on holiday? Okay, number 5, Noha.
Have you any idea if Wayne went away last weekend?
Yes. Have you any idea if Wayne went away last weekend? Right. And if it's a yes, if it's just a regular direct question.
No. Have you any idea? No. Did Wayne went away? Did Wayne go away last weekend?
Yes. Did Wayne go away last weekend? Right. And the last one, Brahim.
Can you tell me whether this train goes to Manchester?
Right. Can you tell me whether this train goes to Manchester? Yes. And if it's a direct question? You'll have to add something that's not in the sentence. You'll have yes.
Train.
What did you say? How did you start it?
Is this train?
Not is. Yes,
does.
Mm-hmm.
Does this train goes to Manchester?
Yes. Go.
Yeah. And you have to change go. Yeah. Yes. Because now you changed it into, a regular present simple question. A yes, no, present simple question. Does this train go to Manchester? Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. All right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you can think of the indirect question. It's just a way to complicate a question, right? Just to make it a little complicated. All for the sake of being polite. All right. Now, number 7. Look at these direct questions that tourists often ask. Rewrite the questions as indirect questions. Okay. So we're going to do the opposite of the previous exercise. We have a direct question, and we're going to make it indirect. Okay, now you can start. Number 1.
Is there a bookshop near here? Can you tell me if there's any bookshop near here?
Okay, that's one way to do it, and it's correct. But if you had to use the prompt you have here in the question, do you know?
Do you know if there's any bookshop near here?
Right. Do you know if there's any bookshop near here? Or if there are any bookshops, if you want to make it plural, either way it's correct. Okay, good. Yeah. Number 2, Brahim, how would you make this into an indirect question using this start?
Could you tell me how to get to the station?
That's good. You don't need to use do, I think, yeah? Could you tell me how to get to the station? I think that's better than keeping do.
لكن تقدر تخليها ولا؟
It sounds a little funny if you say, could you tell me how do I get to the station? Could you tell me how to get? I think it's okay if you leave it. It feels a little better without it, I think. I don't know. Could you tell me how to get? Because you already have, could you tell me? But I think I guess you can leave it, no problem. Because in the previous question, they left them, I think. Let me just confirm. Like this one. Could you tell me how long he's been? No, we don't have a similar one. Do you think? Anyways, okay. No, you can do the next one. Number 3.
Do you think I should give taxi drivers a tip?
Right, yes. Do you think I should give taxi drivers a tip? Yes. Number 4, Brahim.
Can you tell me where's the nearest post office?
Okay, you skipped number 4, but correct.
4.
But number 5, you did it correctly, yes. Can you tell me, what did you say? Where I can find? What did you say?
لا الحصة نفسها.
It's correct also. Can you tell me where is the nearest post office? Yeah. Here, by the way, there's always a little bit of flexibility here, you know, with direct speech. It's a kind of conversation, so, but it's correct. The last one, number 4, Naha.
Have you any idea what time do the banks close?
Right, and you can also remove do, right?
Yeah, what time the banks close?
Yeah. Have you any idea what time the banks close? All right, okay. So I think we get the point. Imagine you're a tourist, blah, blah. I don't think we need to do that. Natural rhythm, listen to these sentences, notice sentence stress. Pink.
Let's skip this.
Yeah, let's skip it, you know, because it's a bit of a waste of time. It's fun, but I think it's keeping us from other stuff. Let's skip. But let me just see what it's about. It's about rhythm this time. Linking weak forms. Okay, we can skip it. All right, now let's talk a little bit about bad weather, and let's talk about natural disasters. Okay, it says here bad weather and natural disasters. We also have the passive. The passive is an interesting part of grammar. It's also one of the class. I think the intermediate level is probably one of the most interesting levels because it has so many interesting rules that you usually don't find in pre-intermediate or even in upper intermediate. You don't find them. It's like they put all the interesting stuff here. The conditionals, you know, direct, indirect speech, the passive. There are so many stuff in intermediate. All right, so let's start with vocabulary related to bad weather and natural disasters.
Yeah.
It's probably the only thing we don't have in Libya. I don't know if that's a fortunate thing or if it's unfortunate, but we don't really have much weather problems, I think, in this area of the world, in the Mediterranean. But in other parts of the world, of course, they do have problems. So, okay, Brahim, can you read these words? I don't think any of them are new, but let's just read them.
A storm, thunder, lightning, a gale, a hurricane, a tornado, a heat wave, a blizzard, a flood, a tsunami, an earthquake, إيه حتى أنا ما عرفتش أعطيتها بالبعدي.
ها.
شنو هي؟ drought.
Okay.
A landslide.
All right. These two words, do you know them? Noha, can you
لا.
read them?
Not
Oh.
all of them. I can read them, but I don't know the meaning of all of them.
Mm.
Yeah, okay. A storm, thunder, lightning, a gale, a hurricane, tornado, heat wave, blizzard, flood, tsunami, earthquake, a drought, landslide.
Okay, which ones are new for you, Ibrahim, so we can have it? Which ones are?
لما مر عليهم.
Okay. And for you, Noha, which ones are new?
Yeah, gale. Yeah.
Mm.
Maybe landslide. I'm not sure that.
Okay, tell me what you think it is. Maybe it's your guess is already correct. What do you think a
About
landslide?
Gale, I don't know any. I have no idea.
Okay.
But landslide maybe انزلاق الطبقة الأرضية أو حاجة هيك.
Okay, but when does this happen? It's correct, that's it. But why would this happen?
Earthquake.
Sometimes earthquakes, but sometimes it happens even from very heavy rain. If you have soil which is not really fixed,
Yeah.
because maybe the people cut all the trees. That's why they always tell you trees are very important, because they hold the soil, especially the topsoil, the top layer.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
If you have too much rain,
it moves away.
Yeah, it slides, and the danger is when it slides, if you have any houses, buildings, or anything, it's going to be, destroyed. The whole thing will destroy. Will be destroyed. I mean, this is a landslide. Okay, a gale is a strong wind. It's not as strong as a hurricane. It's less than a hurricane, but it's strong wind. It's the kind of wind maybe if you open an umbrella, you'll break it. So it's strong wind, but not like a hurricane. It's less than a hurricane. This is a gale.
Like windstorm or something.
A bit like a windstorm, but do you know hurricane? No, the very strong hurricane that destroys houses, buildings. Yeah, a gale is soft. It's like a mini hurricane. It maybe a tree will fall. Maybe electric poles will fall. Maybe a few, but a lot less than.
But doesn't make flood.
Usually no. Usually gales they're not. They don't come with rain usually. They're just wind, just strong wind. This word, a drought, pronounce it like out. The same sound as out. Yeah, drought. Yeah. A drought is the opposite of a flood. Exact opposite. Yes. It means a very long period without rain. If there's a long period without rain, you can say there's a drought. So drought, no rain. All right. Let's take a very quick look at the definitions. Let's see, maybe there's something we missed. Let's very quickly check. Okay, here they are. So let's check the new ones. Gale, do you see? Very strong wind, that's it. That's all you need to know about gale. It's a very strong wind. Can you see it, Nahan, Ibrahim?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hurricane, of course, is very, very strong. It's a violent, strong storm with extremely strong winds. So, of course, it's even worse. And then we have drought, long period with no rain. That's all we need to know. Landslide, it says when large quantities of rocks and earth falls down the side of the mountain. This is especially dangerous with mountains. So this is a landslide. The adjective for storm is stormy. So you can say stormy, like windy, cloudy. We say thunder and lightning, not lightning and thunder. Flood is a noun and a verb. Okay, just some useful tips. Okay, that's all. We can go back. Which page is it, Naha? Do you have your book with you?
Yeah. 62.
62. All right. So these are some of the vocab, some of the words related to bad weather. Now we have a few sort of follow-up questions. Have there been any stories about bad weather or natural disasters in the news recently? And if so, where and what happened?
The huge fire in California in
Australia.
even in California, ولا?
Yeah, I think
Last month.
there are wildfires, yes, in the forest,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's wildfire, and I think the reason is because strong winds and drought. There's a drought, and there's also strong winds. That's
and
yeah.
it took most of the oxygen. People near there were were harmed.
Yeah, because of the fires.
Yeah.
No, I didn't read about them today, but I know that there's been fires in California recently.
Yeah.
I think the one about Australia, Ibrahim, I think it's a little old. It's not, or is it in the news now?
No, قديمة. It's old, but that's all I know.
Yeah, I think this was a few months ago. The Australian fires. They were also very bad.
They were at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, because in the beginning of the year, it's midsummer in Australia. So maybe that's the reason. Maybe they had a very hot summer. Okay, number 2, it says, have you experienced very bad weather? And if so, tell the group what happened. Ibrahim, have you experienced any, extreme weather?
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
What was it?
Blizzard على الثلج بس ولا؟
Yeah, blizzard is only when there's snow. Yeah.
It was a rainy day. مش عارف حاجة أقوى من rainy day.
Hail? Do you mean hail? تبروري؟
لا مطر لكن الله يبارك. Then
Stormy.
It was a hurricane maybe.
I don't know if it was a hurricane, but you can say rainstorm. There's a rainstorm.
Yeah, exactly, rainstorm.
Yeah. When was this? Was it here in Libya?
Yeah. It's an old news, but...
Were you stuck in the street when it happened?
No, I was at home, but the trees fall down and the lightnings were striking on the ground.
So this is a serious rainstorm. It means that there were probably gales and also rain at the same time.
Yeah,
maybe.
and lightning.
And lightning, yes. Sometimes they also say thunderstorm. They also use thunderstorm, rainstorm. So when it's really heavy rain and strong wind at the same time, you can say it's a storm. Thunderstorm, rainstorm. Okay. And what about you? No, have you experienced any extreme weather?
No, I can't remember anyone.
Okay. But I think here in Libya we've had a couple of heat waves.
Waves, bismillah, mashallah.
Yeah, but this year I think actually luckily this year we didn't have a lot. Last year, or I think the one before it, I remember one before it, there was a week where there were 2 or 3 days which were straight out of hell. The weather was really...
even all the trees, all the leaves of the trees has fallen.
Yeah, I remember that.
Became dry.
Yeah, it was really bad. Yeah, I remember that. I remember one day. Yeah, Brian?
I remember in 2016.
It might be 16 or 17. I'm not sure, but I think it's one of them, those years. You're talking about the heat wave, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think sometimes we have heat waves, but on maybe every now and then a thunderstorm or a strong storm. But I think that's it for Libya. Okay, now the third question is an interesting question. It says, do you think the weather where you live has changed since you were a child? What do you think?
I don't know actually. الله يبارك. أنا قلب حاجات.
Yeah, there are many things that are changing. You can't track, you can't track the weather too. What do you think now? Do you think the weather has changed where you lived since you were a child? You were a child?
Maybe yes, maybe not. I'm not sure. People nowadays are saying something like this, but I don't think so. I think it's still the same. Weather in general, weather in Libya, you can't be predictable because, or maybe has been changed the last.
I mean, the last few years.
Last few years, yeah, maybe. Sometimes winter comes late than before, and sometimes come sooner. So it becomes much unpredictable than before.
Yeah, I agree. I especially agree with the winters. They're not as cold as they used to be. This is what I remember.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a child in school, especially primary and preparatory school, it was really cold in the winter, especially in the early.
Maybe in January, maybe 2 weeks in January.
Yeah.
It got
quite
very
cold.
very cold. Well, yeah, quite cold. But after that, in February and up, it
gets warm again.
Like, like spring weather.
Yeah, so this is something I think has changed since.
We have longer fall nowadays and longer spring than before, and short period of winter.
Yeah, short winters. Because think of it, it's now we've just started October, and October doesn't feel any different from maybe September or even the end of August.
Hot,
it's the same kind of weather.
Today is very hot.
Yeah, it's quite hot. We even started switched on the air conditioner today, and this is October. I don't think it was the same 25 years ago, for example, or maybe more. I think it was a bit colder back then.
Yeah.
Anyways,
the
scientists have been saying the world has, the temperature has changed worldwide, but I don't know if it has in 20 years. Maybe this is just our subjective feeling, but it might be right. Okay, now we're going to read a little bit about natural disasters, and there are a few words here which will be used, but I think we know all of them except maybe the fourth one. I don't know if it's new or not, but okay. So we have prevent, melt, deep, erupt, evaporate. So do you know what erupt means?
Yeah.
Okay, can you explain it? Erupt.
Erupt related to the volcanoes.
Correct. And baby teeth. Did you know this? They also use it for baby teeth. When baby teeth, when the teeth of babies, they first start coming up, they say teeth eruption.
Yeah, that's new.
Yeah, the first time I found about
I knew it for volcanoes from the IELTS course.
Yeah, me too. I knew it for volcanoes first, but then the teeth I learned about it, I think, from medicine or somewhere. And I thought it was a bit funny, teeth erupt. But I think they use it for both. But that's exactly right. Yes, it's related to, hot lava or magma coming from...
to coming up.
Yeah, coming to the surface. And the rest of the words, I think, Ibrahim, you also know the rest of the words, right? They're
لا
clear?
لا اللي على اليمين
Evaporate. If you boil, if you boil water, eventually it will evaporate, right?
Yeah.
And for example, alcohol evaporates really quickly. Example of something. All right, so yeah, exactly. Tabakhur, yes. All right, now we're going to read the text. There's a short text here. It says, look at, but before the text, I think they want us to look at the photos first. Questions, sorry. Look at questions number 1 to 5. What do you think the answers are? Give reasons if possible. Okay, so these are general questions. And after that, they want us to check. So do you think people can predict where and when earthquakes will happen? What do you think?
Normal people, I don't think so. But for scientific people or scientists, they have equipment for such a prediction.
And how accurate are their predictions? I mean, not just how accurate. Not a gyroscope. No, they have other instruments. But how early can they detect the earthquake? This is the question. Can they detect it like a week before it happens, a day, a few hours? What do you think?
A few hours, I think.
I have no idea, but I think maybe days. No, maybe hours. I don't think so, because for areas that used to have such an phenomena, maybe the scientists there are focusing on such a warning signs. They have much warning signs they are focusing on, rather than the areas that haven't had such features. So maybe a few hours, maybe a few days, I don't know, not more.
You're right about scientists in areas which have frequent earthquakes, because usually the earthquakes, they happen around an area called the Ring of Fire, which is like it's like a U shape that goes from behind Japan and goes over the Pacific along the west coast of the United States and South America, Chile.
Yeah.
So that area is there are always earthquakes. Not always. I mean, they're much more frequent than other places in the world. And usually, yes, the scientists there are I think a little better equipped, and maybe they have a better understanding of earthquakes. But I think the last time I saw maybe a documentary or read about it, I think what you and Ibrahim said, the latest technology is, I think, only a number of hours. It's still not, you still can't detect an earthquake days before it happens. I don't know how many hours exactly, but it's still a matter of hours. Do you get the idea?
Yeah.
Maybe this is good enough. A few hours at least they can evacuate. If the place that's going to be hit in, let's say, 4 or 5 hours, they have some kind of prediction, at least they can tell people to leave that area. It's better than nothing. It's not very good, of course. The damage will still happen, but I think it's better than nothing.
But there's some zoologist who's following an idea about how to use the birds' immigration and some behavior and animal behavior before the natural
disasters. You mean like a warning system using animals?
Yeah, because they found that there's some that animals behaves in strange way. For example, they immigrate before the time they used to do. when there's that's usually happened weeks before the disaster.
Yeah, that might be also very useful. I think, but the problem is maybe you can't tell what the problem I think with this is you can't tell what they're running from exactly, or if it's really if it's an earthquake or a tsunami. Maybe it's maybe it's a hurricane, maybe it's I don't know, maybe it's pollution, because pollution also affects their behavior. Maybe, but you're right. Yes, many studies have shown that animals behave strangely before many natural disasters, so they might help. They might help, yeah. Okay, number 2. What do you think? What can we do to help prevent droughts? What do you think?
Use the water we have wisely.
Okay.
Retain our water resource.
Okay, so we need to take care or be careful with our water resources.
Plant trees.
Plant trees. It sounds like very. It's a very effective method of preventing drought. But how do trees prevent droughts, Brian? What do you think? Don't trees use a lot of water?
أعطيني شوية بس الكلمة تطلع من لا الحمد لله صدق. Because trees protects us from the sun. So, and they have like a mechanism to save water.
Okay.
Something like that.
What do you think, Noah? How do you think trees prevent droughts?
Because they contribute the water cycle.
They're part of the water cycle, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true, because
I don't know what role they play, but I have just this idea that they contribute the water cycle.
Yeah, I think that's correct. Yes, because the water they absorb from the soil, it comes out of the leaves, right? And this evaporates, and at the same time, because they create shade, like Rahim said, so everything on the ground is less likely to be burnt by the sun. So this will give a chance to even the smaller plants to grow, and all of this together holds the soil and holds the moisture in the soil a lot better than if it was exposed to the sun directly. So I think trees help in more than one way, in different ways, and it all contributes to better air quality, less droughts, less extreme winds. I think China now is the world leader in planting trees. They've planted I don't know how many million trees, because they're also a big polluter. So they're trying to balance this, because they have big problems with air quality now, China. So they're trying to balance this with increasing the number of planted trees. I don't know how successful it's going to be, but on the long term, it seems like it's a good strategy. Okay, now tsunamis. I think we've had a big tsunami. When was the last big tsunami?
Last year, maybe in Libya.
No, we never have tsunamis here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Last year, I think.
I can't remember.
I think the biggest one was the one in Japan.
Last decade.
Yeah.
In the last decade.
In the last decade, yeah, there was. I think in 2011 there was a big one in Japan, where it caused a nuclear meltdown.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, because nuclear reactor.
Yeah, it hit a nuclear reactor. But what causes a tsunami?
Earthquake.
Yes.
Beneath the sea.
The water.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yes, there's usually an earthquake in the seabed, somewhere inside the ocean. So there's an earthquake, and it
generates huge energy and moves the waves up.
Exactly, yes. All that huge energy, it just moves. It has to go somewhere, right? That energy, it needs to move. So this is what happens. Okay, number 4. Is the Earth really getting warmer?
I think so, yeah. There's many researchers emphasize that. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is. At least from the local situation, the local, the last 20, 25 years, I think it is. At least Libya is, I think. But the rest of the world, like you said, some scientists, that's exactly what they're saying. That's exactly what they're saying, yeah. Okay, last question. What will happen if the North and South poles melt? What do you think will happen?
End of the planet.
Why? Why do you think?
Huge flood. Gonna make huge flood.
Yeah, because they're going to increase the sea level, right?
Yeah, the sea level, yeah. Steeply, not just increase.
Yes.
Steeply increase.
Steeply increase, you're right, yes. So if you have a coastal city like Tripoli, bye-bye, right? Because it's going
we
to
will drown.
Yeah, we will have to learn how to swim. And the distance between Libya and Italy will be, a lot
much
bigger,
further.
much further.
Yeah.
There'll be more water between us. Yeah, it's a big problem. Many climate scientists and specialists are very worried about this, of course. Okay, so now let's read the article. It says, read the Q&A article, match questions number 1 to 5 to the paragraphs. So the questions that we had a little discussion with, we're going to find, maybe more scientific answers. And we can also compare our chat or our guesses, our non-scientific guesses. We can compare it with the information here and see how close we were, okay? So very quickly, we need to read A, B, C, D, E, and then find the proper question, the best question for each paragraph, okay?
Okay.
All right, so you can start. When you finish part B, Ibrahim, just part C, just let me know so I can scroll down and you can read D and E.
اوكي انا شوي ونكمل البي. finish C.
Okay.
I finished.
Okay. All right, so let's match the questions. So for the first one, I think it's obvious which question is for A.
Yeah.
Question number, which question, Brian?
A.
Mhm.
اللوطانية. What causes tsunami?
Yes, that's it. Number 3. What causes a tsunami is for paragraph A. Good. What about paragraph B, Brian? Which question?
Drought. Two. What can we do to prevent drought?
Right. And what about C?
Drought.
Drought, yeah.
Droughts.
Question 5.
Droughts. Oh.
Correct.
Question 5.
Yeah. Question 5. What will happen if the north and good. Now, and D, what about D now?
Question 1.
Correct. Yeah, it's about earthquakes. And the last one, Ibrahim, it means which question?
E. Let me change. 4.
Correct, yes. Is the earth really getting warm? Okay. Now, here we have also a few follow-up questions. Why do tsunamis get stronger near the coast? What's the reason?
Because the ocean is less deep there.
That's it. Yeah, because there's less water for the energy to spread, right? So it's like the energy is being squeezed until it gets to the coast. All right, now why does cutting down trees cause droughts? Ibrahim, what do you think? Why?
That means the rainwater evaporates because it can't help it, because it isn't held in the ground by the trees.
Exactly right, yes. And what percentage of the world's population live on or near the coast? No.
This is a frightening thought because over half the world's population live near the coast, and many of these places will be destroyed. Yeah.
Yeah, so
over
half, which is quite dangerous, right? Okay, number 4. Naha, you can also do number 4. Which parts of the world are more likely to be hit by earthquakes?
Where is the paragraph for earthquakes? What's the question? Which parts of the world are more likely to be hit by earthquakes? No. Tsunami. It's not possible to know earthquake. However, it's possible to predict when places are going to be hit. However, it's possible to predict which places will be hit when an earthquake sometimes in the future. Recent report identified the 5 most likely places for future earthquakes as the Caribbean, Chile, Indonesia, Japan, North America.
Right, that's correct, yes. Okay, yeah. Last question, Ibrahim. What evidence do we have for global warming?
8 of 10 hottest years has been recorded in the last 2 decades.
Yeah. This is a bit scary, right? And they've been measuring, scientists have been measuring the Earth's or the world's temperature for the last 150 years. And they've been doing this quite accurately. It means they've been keeping records. So it says that 8 of the 10 hottest years were in the last 2 decades. All right. So this was question number 3. Let's go to number 4. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about the passive. I'm sure you noticed that the topic itself is a little bit scientific, right? The one about, you might be wondering, why do we care about all of this? We're not geologists, right? This is not for us. But I think the whole point is the passive, because the passive is very, very, very commonly used with academic and scientific English. Because when we use the passive, of course, we don't really care who caused the action, don't really care the subject, who's the subject. We're concerned more with the result. Ibrahim, can you please take a look at these 2 sentences, the active and the passive, and tell me, read them both, and then tell me what do you think the difference is.
Active. Earthquakes under the ocean cause tsunamis. Passive. Tsunamis are caused by earthquakes under the ocean.
So what's the difference here between these 2 sentences?
In English طبعا.
Yeah, in English.
بس شوية بس.
And which one is the cause and which one is the result?
بالضبط. لو كان كلمة بالكلاسيك. Active, the cause comes at first, then the result. But in the passive, the result comes first.
Okay, now I want you to take a look at this very simplified example.
The boy kicked the ball. The ball was kicked.
Okay, which one is active, which one is passive?
The boy kicked the ball, active. شنو اسمه active.
Correct.
Well, the ball was kicked by the boy, passive.
Yeah, so you can see an active sentence is, what we've been studying from the beginning of the book, right? This is not a normal sentence. هو غير تعطونا اسمه سموه active, but this is how, normal language is. You have the subject, which is the boy, he, and then you have the verb kicked and the object, the ball, right? Obvious.
Yes.
But in the passive, we sort of play around. We switch the order. We put the object first in a way, right? You get the idea? We switch the order. And we can also do a little trick. We can do this. Can you read this now?
When?
The same 2 examples.
The boy kicked the ball. The ball was kicked.
What did I do here?
ناحية الcause.
Yeah, exactly. And I can do that. In passive, you can remove the cause of the action. The subject itself, I can remove it. Because we don't care who kicked the ball, really. All we care about is that the ball was kicked.
We care about the result.
We care about the result. This is how usually academic and scientific English is written, usually in this style. They don't really say who did what, just what was done. That's all.
كانت عودة من فضلك الصوت قاعد يقطع.
Okay, so I'm just saying that with the passive, the reason it's used a lot in scientific English and academic English, we're more concerned with the results, not who caused them. You get the idea? Okay, now go back to these questions. It says, what is the subject of each sentence? Number 1 here. What is the subject of the active sentence and what is the subject of the passive sentence? Okay, maybe we'll leave this question to
cause.
No, not the cause, the subject. Noha, what about question number 1 and 2? Can you help us here?
What's the subject? The subject in both sentences is earthquake.
Mm-hmm.
The object is tsunami.
Correct.
Mhm.
And what about number 3? In which sentence is the focus on tsunamis? And in which sentence is the focus the earthquakes under the ocean? Number 3, Ibrahim. Which one of them are we focusing more on the tsunami, and which one are we focusing on the earthquake?
And the active, we focus on the earthquake, and
Correct.
the passive on tsunamis.
Yes. So the thing we talk about first, this is the focus of the listener. This is what we want the listener to focus on, right?
Mhm.
So if you use a sentence like this, earthquakes under the ocean cause tsunamis, we're thinking more about earthquakes rather than tsunamis. But I think the real problem for a scientist, the real problem isn't the earthquake, it's the tsunami, because that's going to, it's going to hit the coast. It's going to happen. You get the idea. So like you said, yes. Okay, number 4 here, Brian. In which sentence do we use by to say what does the action? Which one did we use by?
Passive.
Correct. And the thing that's causing the action, or the thing that does the action, they usually give it a name. They call it the agent. So in this sentence, tsunamis are caused by earthquakes under the ocean. Where's the agent, Brian? Where's the thing that causes the action?
Earthquake.
That's it. So the earthquakes, in this example, it's the agent. So whenever you see the word agent, اللي هو الفعل أو الشيء اللي يدلك في الأكشن in passive sentences. Do you know what passive means in Arabic, Ibrahim? Do you know what it is? Ibrahim, are you there? Hello? Can you hear me, Naha?
Yeah.
Okay, I think he has a disconnection or something. Okay, in Arabic, I'm sure you know the passive, right? What is the passive, Naha, in Arabic?
مجهول مبني للمجهول.
Yeah, that's the whole idea, yes. بالضبط. هو المبني للمجهول. All right, so it says, look at this sentence, then choose the correct phrase in the rule. Droughts often happen because all the trees have been cut down. Okay. It says we often use the passive when we know or we don't know who did the action. What do you think now? When do we use the passive? When we know or when we don't know?
Sometimes, in both cases, sometimes we don't know, sometimes it's not important.
Hi. Yeah.
Sometimes because the agent is not important, and sometimes we don't know the agent. In both cases.
That's correct, yes. The idea is passive يا إبراهيم اللي هو بالعربي المبني للمجهول.
دقيقة بس شو أنا آخر حاجة سمعتها إن الفاعل عطري.
فكرة الباسيف بالعربي يا إبراهيم زي فكرة المبني المجهول، إنه مش معروف من اللي دار الفعل نفسه. زي مثلا بالعربي تقول السيارة ضربت، البنك سرق. You get the idea. The bank was stolen. Maybe we don't know, and maybe we don't care. So if you hear it on the news, usually say the bank of the Central Bank of Libya was robbed for example, Saturday evening. بعدين يعطيك money by a group of, for example, thieves or robbers or whatever. You get the idea. لكن في الأول ديما حيعطيك الخبر أن البنك سرق. It never starts with a group of armed كذا robbed كذا. Usually it's the other way around. They usually start with the passive because they want you to focus on the fact that the bank was robbed. We don't really, of course, it's not going to rob itself. Someone must have robbed it, but the focus is more on the bank being robbed rather than the robbers robbing it, if you get what I mean. Do you get the idea? التركيز على الحدث نفسه، على القصة اللي صارت أكثر من اللي يخنبه. أن هو نخنب هي مشكلة، كيف نخنب بغض النظر من خنبه هو أن نخنب. This is the problem. So here in this question, they're telling us that sometimes we use the passive when we don't know who did the action. So if you're not sure, you don't even need to mention it. You can just say the bank was robbed, the car was stolen. Do you get the idea? The child was kidnapped. Of course, a kidnapper will kidnap the child, but what's more important here is not who the kidnapper is, the fact that he was kidnapped. الأكت هو المصيبة في الأكشن هو أن نخطف الولد أكثر من اللي خطفه ومن ما خطفاش. So this is usually how they use it a lot in academic scientific English. Even in in the news it's common. They use it sometimes. Here we want to, of course, the passive depends on the tense you're using it. So for example, here they want us to look at the passive forms in the article we were reading, the one about natural disasters. I think it's better if I show you both pages together. It will help. Let me zoom. So what we want to do is we want to copy the bold phrases from the article. I don't know if you can see them, or if they're small, Ibrahim. Can you see them? The bold phrases, the passive forms, can you see them in the article, Ibrahim?
Yeah.
So we want to put them depending on the tense, not tense, verb form. So the passive في الحقيقة ما عندناش نوع واحد من الpassive. There are different passive forms depending on the verb form. So for example, if it's in the present simple, you'll find something like are caused, like this example. Tsunamis are caused by earthquakes. This one is present simple because we used are to get the idea. What about the present continuous? What's the passive of present continuous from the article? Can you find it?
The bold.
Yeah, only the ones in bold. Look for the ones in bold.
Is being caused.
Correct. Yes, is being caused. Let's write it. What about the present perfect simple now? Which one is it?
Have been cut down.
Yes, have been cut down. And Ibrahim, the past simple, passive?
Past, were killed.
Correct. All right. Were killed. And the be going to, passive?
Going to passive. Are going to be.
Yes. Are going to be. Correct. And Ibrahim, the passive of will, at least in this example.
Will be flooded.
Right. Correct. Will be flooded. And the one with can,
Be caused.
Sorry?
Can be caused.
Can be caused. Correct. All right. Do you get the idea of the passive, Ibrahim? Did you sort of get the general idea?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just saying things بالمقلوب in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of saying Ibrahim drove the car was driven by Ibrahim. Do you get the idea? Or for example, the plane was flown by Captain Ahmed, right? So here it's sort of reversing the order. I think you'll get used to it with a few examples. Now let's make them into negative. How can we make these into negative? For example, the one with are caused. Tsunamis are caused by earthquakes. How can we make this into negative, Brian? Here's the sentence. Let me show you where the sentence is. Can you see it at the top of the page? Tsunamis are caused by earthquakes under the ocean. Can you see it? Okay, can you make this into negative?
Tsunami aren't caused by drought.
Yes, yeah, that's good. Tsunamis aren't caused by droughts, for example.
Droughts.
Yes, good example. All right, can you do the negative for all of them, Brian, in the same way? And you don't have to, you can just repeat the same example and you don't even have to finish it. Just instead of saying is being caused, the negative is going to be, what is it? Isn't being caused, correct. What about have been cut down?
Haven't.
That's it. What about were killed?
Weren't killed.
Good. Next one.
Aren't going to be.
Correct. Aren't going to be hit. What about will?
Will not.
And how do we change will not? It will become?
Willen't.
W-O-N-T. How do we say it? W-O-N-T.
Won't.
Won't be flooded, correct? And the last one?
Can't be.
Yes, can't be caused, correct. All right. Now let's take a quick look at the summary here. Let's see if there's anything worth checking. Let's check. Let's go back to the one page display. Okay, let me zoom. All right, so you can see the year that we kind of switched the order. This is what we were talking about, right, Brian? Can you see? In the active sentence, the subject was in the beginning. Earthquakes under the ocean caused tsunamis. But do you see what happened in the passive? Do you see the crisscross? عكس عكس مشينا صح؟
Object ولا subject والsubject ولا.
Exactly. You know, it became a subject أصبح الagent. ما عادش بدنا نقول له subject. بدأ اسمه agent. You get the idea. So there's a bit of a switch. It says here we often use the passive when we are more interested in what happens to someone or to something than in who did the action. You get the idea? This is the answers. So we just add not, isn't, haven't, you know, can't. It's the same. There's a tip. We can use other modal verbs, could, must, should, in passive forms. Okay. So you can even use modal verbs in the passive. Many people could be made homeless, right? So you can even use could and should. For example, you can say homework should be done on time. Homework should be done on time. I didn't say you should do your homework on time. I said homework should be done on time.
Generally.
بالضبط كيف؟ فنوع من الفورمالية شوية. نوع من التعميم ونوع من عدم الشخصنة. يعني المدرس ما عادش يضطر يبدأ يقول بالطالب أنت دير. لا. يبدأ regulation عام. Homework should be done on time. Rules should be expected. For example, smoking mustn't be allowed on the premises. You get the idea? So it sounds like a rule. So passive in a way is a sort of a formal tense. By the way, it's not used in spoken English. Passive is one of the tenses that's not very commonly used in maybe in the news, but otherwise it's one of the grammatical rules or tenses, or I don't know, or ideas that's more closely related with written or formal English. Okay? So this is the passive. All right, let's check the exercise. I think we have a few exercises. After doing a few exercises, I think it'll be a lot clearer for us now. So here, number 7, or is it number 6? Look again, underline all the forms. Okay, this is a good one. Okay, so let's go back to the article, but this time we're going to underline any kind of passive, not just the bold ones. We want to find any other passive. All right, so let's start from the beginning. So it says here, tsunamis are caused. So here, they can also be caused.
Water is pushed.
Right, that's correct. Caused, water is pushed. Ibrahim, can you find another one?
By creating waves.
No, there aren't any more passives here, except this one. Okay, in part B, Ibrahim.
A drought.
Correct.
Caused by.
Yes, correct.
Rainfall.
بعدين عندك it's not held in the ground by the trees.
Right.
Rainwater because it's not held in the ground. بعدين عندك trees are going to be planted.
Correct. When we say, Ibrahim, trees are going to be planted, we don't say who. يعني كنا بالليبي بتقول الشجر حينزرع. مين حيزرع؟ ما يهمناش مين حيزرع، بينزرع وخلاص. You get the idea. فمبني للمجهول. زي ضمير غائب. مبني المجهول مش ضمير غائب. You get the idea. Trees are going to be planted, which may help reduce the blah blah. Okay, part C. If this happens, the sea level will rise.
The sea level will rise around the world and towns and cities.
No, this is active. The sea level will rise.
لازم يكون الفيرب تميزه ان الفيرب يكون ديما باست. ديما باست فور. والا participle هو exactly participle مش past for. ديما الفيرب يكون participle. تلقاه في التصريف الثالث دائما معناها فكر ان هذا passive.
Yeah, will be done, will be passed, will be flooded, will be cut down. And lots of towns in the city coast will be, so معناها towns and cities will be flooded. This is a frightening thought because of how the population of the coast will be destroyed. Can you see it, Brian?
Yeah.
All right. I think we still have the last two paragraphs. نشوفوهم. D and C. Okay, D, Noha will do it. I want you to pay attention to Noha. And then E, you're going to do the whole thing. Okay, Brian?
Tamam.
All right, so Noha, you can find it.
Okay. ما فيش إلا اللي involved يعني.
I think so too, yes. I couldn't find any others. Yeah. Okay, in E, Ibrahim. Ibrahim?
8 of 10 hot years has been recorded.
Okay, this is one of them. وانت فوت واحدة الثانية لكن حتى دي صح.
The world's temperature has been measured accurately.
صح. This is another one. There's another one.
إيه عنده فيها the temperature is being caused by man-made climate change.
Yes. What about this one, Ibrahim? What do you think? The average, on average, it has increased by 1.5 in the second sentence.
فوقاني.
What do you think?
It shows that on average. مش متأكد الحق.
What do you think, Noah? Do you think this is passive?
It has increased. Passive.
Uh-huh. Because who increased it? It's not mentioned. You get to the idea, Ibrahim. When it's not mentioned who did what, ديما انت بتشك هذا مبني للمجهول. مش ذاكر لك من اللي زاد الحرارة. It has increased by 1.5. يعني هذه الجملة كنا بنحولها للباسيف بنقول it is believed حتى هو يعتبر passive. مثلا نقوله scientists think that humans have increased or human activity has increased the temperature of the earth by كذا كذا. Do you get the idea? Okay. So this is how you can detect passive. Now I'd like you to do the exercise here.
لكن هذه شوية تلخبط لأن ما فيش بين راه.
Which one?
مش مفروض. It has been increased.
You mean the second one? It shows that on average.
And on average, مش مفروض it has been increased by.
Correct. This is active now, yeah.
لكن
correct.
هي بالمعنى it has increased by زادت ب.
Yeah, but لا by لكن هنا قداش الزيادة هنا في quantity ذكر للزيادة بس لكن مش ذكر مش by it's not the agent يعني ال 1.5 مش هي اللي زادت لنا ال temperature. Do you get the idea?
أنا إبراهيم كان عند الحق.
Yeah, this is not passive, right? Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the exercise. Let's check the exercise. The exercise is, I think, a little more obvious. Let's skip the listening part. Here, number 7, read about Roy Sullivan. Okay, so this is an interesting story about this individual. I read about this person when I was a child, I remember. A very interesting story.
Yeah.
Okay, so read about this person and of course choose the correct verb form, okay? So take a minute. I'll be back just a second.
Yeah, مسكين والله.
ابصر شو مداير.
علاش مداير؟ واو.
حط 7. 7.
ايه مسكين والله.
طالع امه مش راضي عليها.
لا مرات يكون قطوسة.
maybe he's a very good person. إذا حب الله عبد ابتلاه. Maybe God
Yeah.
loves him very
إيه.
much. Maybe he loves him too much. Maybe.
Or maybe he's a Tom.
Maybe he's a twin.
No, maybe he's a cat.
Maybe he's a
Keeping
cat.
live.
Yeah, 10 lives.
Yeah, I remember I read about this when I was, I think, 8 years old. I read the first time I read this because I was reading a first aid book about the dangers of, lightning, and there was this story. I thought it was fascinating. Okay, so let's do find the correct answers. Okay, so the Earth. You can start, Brian.
Okay. The Earth hits by lightning 8.6 million times a day.
Okay,
Scientists
but
say,
just a second. Let's go back to the beginning of the sentence. The Earth. Who hits
by lightning?
Does the Earth hit lightning, or does lightning hit the Earth?
العكس.
Okay.
Lightning يعني is hit by lightning.
So which one do I choose?
Is hit by lightning.
Okay.
8.6 million times a day. Scientists say there's a 1 in 3 million chance you will be hit by lightning.
Okay.
But that depends on how much time you spend outdoors.
Okay.
Roy Sullivan, a park ranger from Virginia, USA, was hit by lightning 7 times in his lifetime. On different occasions, he lost his toenails, hair, and eyebrows.
Is it lost or was lost?
He lost.
Okay.
The final lightning strike happened while he was fishing, and he was taken to the hospital with chest and stomach burns.
Yeah. All right. Would you like to be Roy Sullivan?
Lebanon.
So it's very strange, There's something about him. I don't know why lightning likes him. But very strange. Very, very strange. Okay. So this is the story of Mr. Sullivan. Okay, let's move on. Look at the photo. Which city is it? And what problems does this city have?
300 million volt.
Yeah, lightning is very, very powerful. It's strange that he didn't die from any of them.
Yeah.
By the way, do you know this? The story of the man is not finished here. ما كملوهالكش لأن قصة مأساوية مسكين. He wasn't. He never died from lightning. He was killed by a gunshot.
لا.
Yes. Let me just show you.
مليون 307.
Yeah, he was actually shot. Let's very quickly. Roy Sullivan. What about the picture? What do you think this is?
2.1 gigawatt. Picture.
لسه شكلها.
Yeah.
مش طلع لي picture أنا.
Is it black?
Yeah.
Okay, just a second. Yeah, you should see the screen now. Can you see the screen now?
Yeah.
This is him. This is Roy Sullivan.
واكل ضيق أكثر من البلاد كلها.
Yeah. How
You see?
awful.
Yes. And
Yeah.
this is him. He died, but he didn't die from. He didn't die from. Here, I'll show you the rest of the article.
في قبره ما زال قاعد ينزل عليه برا.
Maybe I would expect it.
Yeah.
Lightning
عاد
really
1 in 3 million وبعت لي 7 مرات.
Yeah. Here, person. Do you see? He actually killed himself. You see?
No. From a self-inflicted
gunshot wound to the head.
To the head.
Yeah. I think he wanted
كيف
to.
ما تعرفش الفرق؟
Yeah, because in the book.
Self-inflicted شنو يعني؟
Self-inflicted دارها بروحها. هو ضرب بروحها. He killed himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in the book it didn't say who shot who. It just said he died from a bullet. They never said it was a suicide. This is the first time
because maybe it's for young.
Yeah, maybe they didn't want to mention it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe this is his way of having revenge from God. He said, you know, you've struck me so many times with lightning. I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah. What a tragedy.
It's a tragedy, and he wasn't young when he killed himself. He was 71.
Yeah.
I mean, if he waited a little bit, maybe he would have died naturally, but he's just got tired of being hit by lightning.
he felt that he is deeply unlucky.
Yes.
Yeah.
تخيل روحك معك مقعمز بحدك بالطيارة.
And you see the lightning mark, this one is actually from lightning. اللي على طقيت الكحلة هذه. This is like a final destination scenario, you know? He just doesn't want to die. They kept they want to get rid of him. He doesn't want to die. All right.
Yeah.
This is the story of Mr. Sullivan. Let's get back to here. The photo of, what do you think? Which city is this? Who can tell?
Venice.
Venice, yeah.
Venice.
It's Venice. Venice is suffering a lot from, you know, one of the consequences of course, of global warming and the climate change is the increased sea level. And because Venice is a low-lying city, it's on the coast, and it's not going well for Venice. Okay, let's complete this little part about Venice. It says, put the verbs in the correct form of the passive. There is sometimes more than one possible answer. Okay. And so, no, you can start here. Or I'll tell you what, let me give you a few minutes first. Take a minute or two, and then we'll do it together. Maybe it's easier, because here you need to answer it in more than one way. Or you can answer it in more than one way.
These days, parts of Venice are flooded.
Okay.
Flooded.
I'm just writing your answers, and maybe if we need to change anything, we can do it later. But let's write your answers.
Monday in 3. Or are flooding. Maybe. Are flooded or are flooded.
I like flooded better. This one feels better.
People believe the water will rise another 20 centimeters in the next 50 years. This means that Venice will be flooded much more often.
Okay.
Okay. A lot of money have been already collected.
Is it
Like I
has
say,
been
yes.
or have been?
A lot of money have been. ولا
But money is
a lot.
it
Has.
money? Yeah, it's uncountable, right? So it's like an it.
Uncountable لكن هو ذاك lot of.
Yeah,
خلاها هلبة منها يعني.
But you still can't count it. Remember, the rule for uncountable is always to be treated like singular.
Ah.
Right?
Okay.
They usually
Yeah.
take singular pronouns.
I missed it. Yeah. Okay. A lot of money has been.
Okay, has been already.
Already collected for the Save Venice Fund, and now many old buildings now are going to be repaired.
Okay, here's the key.
Yeah, are going to be repaired.
Can you try another one?
Will be repaired.
Yeah. Nowadays will be repaired or are going to be repaired or حتى present continuous are
I think the key is Ibrahim, say it again.
Being.
Right. I think this is the right one.
Yeah, قصدك present perfect continuous.
Yeah, I think the just continuous, not present continuous, only present continuous. Do you know why? Do you know why I think this is the right answer? Do you see what it says? Now. So now, we're talking about now.
Yeah.
So many old buildings are being repaired right now. Do you get the idea? That's why I think, the present continuous is the best one in this situation.
Yeah, are being, are going to be or are being.
Okay.
However, more money must be found. Must be found.
Okay.
Must be found quickly. And some people don't think the city can be saved. Most experts agree that if important work has been done soon,
negative. We need negative.
Experts agree that if important work hasn't been done or
some of the world's most beautiful building will be lost forever.
That if important work hasn't been done soon,
okay,
some of the world's most beautiful buildings will be lost forever.
Okay, now let's read.
Or can be lost forever.
Will be or can be.
Will be lost.
Yeah, both are okay. Both I think can be. Will be lost. Can be lost. Or might be lost. Maybe might is good here, right? Might. Might, by the way, they like it. This is a tip I've noticed from IELTS. Academic writers, they love the word might because scientists don't want to be certain. You know, blind certainty is not very scientific. It's not an academic thing. So they always they soften it. They usually say might. But grammatically speaking, will, can, might, all correct. Okay, let's read this from the beginning. Now, Brahim, you can read the whole thing from the start. And let's see if we need to change anything. Okay. But go ahead.
These days, parts of Venice are flooded 1 day in 3.
Okay, do we think we need, I think it's okay. We don't need to change this. It's correct.
People believe the water will rise another 20 centimeters in the next 50 years. This means that Venice will be flooded much more often.
Okay, can we do it in another way? Will be flooded. Can we say is going to be flooded? I think we can, right?
Yeah.
Both. I think it's correct either way because we just need something to talk about the future.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of money has been already collected.
Just a second. I think it's better to say has already been collected, right? Shik Yasin. Has been already collected. I think it has already been collected. A lot of money has already been collected. This is better. Has already been
collected.
Okay.
To say Venice found, and now many old buildings are being repaired. However, more money must be found quickly, and some people don't think that the city can be saved. Most experts agree that if important work hasn't been done soon, some of the world's most beautiful buildings will be lost forever. Well, might be lost.
Okay, what about number 7, Ibrahim and Naha? What do you think?
Most experts agree that if important work aren't being done.
But here we're discussing a fact, right?
Yeah.
So
isn't.
Yeah, go ahead.
Isn't done.
Yeah, that's what I think. Right? It feels a little better. Most experts agree because they agree. So we are already in the present tense, in present simple, right? And it feels like this is a factual kind of part of the story. So this is sort of the scientist's conclusion. And they started the sentence with present simple. So maybe it's better to finish it with present simple. Is being done, that if important work isn't done soon, some of the world's most beautiful buildings will be lost forever. All right. Okay, so this is the story of Venice. Okay, so let's move on. There's another exercise in page 106. Let's take a look at it. It's probably a group exercise, so you can do it together, which is good. Let's check it. Here it is. Okay. Okay, here it is. So it says here, work in pairs. Write questions with these words and put the verbs in the correct active or passive form. You might need to use the agent, so you might need to use by the agent. All right, so number 1. Naha, you can start with number 1.
In which year New Orleans destroyed American?
I saw.
In which year New Orleans was destroyed by Hurricane Katrina?
Okay, so let's write it like this. In which year, is it better to say New Orleans was or was
New Orleans destroyed?
New Orleans, I think they pronounce it. It's destroyed. Yeah, I think it's New Orleans. I'm not sure. Destroyed by hurricane. Okay. Okay, what about number 2? Ibrahim, yeah.
What percentage of people who got killed by lightning every year are male?
Okay, now organize it a bit. It's a passive question.
What percentage of people?
Remember the question. You might need to use by.
What percentage of people who got killed by lightning?
Okay, let me write this.
لا تدير passive.
Passive, Ibrahim. So with passive, we have to say we can't leave kill like this, right?
Got killed.
Okay. What percentage of people killed by what?
By lightning.
Yeah.
Every year are male.
Right? And what's the answer?
C.
Yeah. Usually males, we're the victims of everything. We die earlier, we get hit by cars, we die in wars, and then usually the women say that we don't have rights, right? This is it's a very unfair world for men. Usually we're the victims of everything, but the news usually shows the opposite story.
بالضبط. يعفلقوا فيه في الأخبار هذو معي. Feminists بكل.
No, okay, number 3.
Which of these countries have been hit by the most tornadoes in the last 20 years?
But you can add the verb hit. I think that would be okay. But what if we have to use the same verbs we have in the sentence itself?
Which of these countries have had?
That's it. Yeah, one of the haves is, the auxiliary, and then we need the main one, right? I like this better.
Have had ولا have been. أنا مش تولي passive بعدين. Have been had ما تجيش.
No, I think have had. Which of these countries?
Have had is not passive.
It's it's present perfect, and it's a normal present perfect. No, but it says here. Look at the question. Put the verbs in the correct active or passive form. So maybe in some examples, maybe we have to use. Sometimes we have to use the active.
Okay.
But you're right. It's not passive. Which have had? Which of these countries have had the most tornadoes? Had the most. Okay, now Brian, next one, number 4.
Which country got hit by the world's biggest earthquake in 1960s?
Okay, why did you add got? We don't want got. Got is another, it's okay. Got hit is okay. But choose something else.
Was.
Yeah, right. You can say was hit. Which country was hit
by the world's biggest earthquake?
Yes. By the world's biggest earthquake.
Chile.
Yeah. In 1960, so Chile. Okay, next question.
Which country have had?
Here we have got. You need to use have got somehow.
الgot التصريف الثالث متاعها شنو؟
It's the same, I think.
Got.
I think this one is active.
Yeah.
Right, because it's asking about something that's true now. It's just a possessive have got, I think.
Yeah, which country has got
Yeah,
here?
for singular,
got-
exactly.
Yeah, has got the largest number of active volcanoes in the world.
Yeah, I think that's it. Which country has got the largest number of active volcanoes in the world? And the last one, Ibrahim?
What percentage of Earth's surface
I think this is quite easy, right?
was covered by water?
Was,
Covered.
but was or is?
What percentage of Earth's surface is covered by water? Is.
Yeah.
No,
We don't need to
okay.
use was because it's still
Eh.
covered until today. It's still covered, right? Unless a meteor hits us and we'll become extinct like the dinosaurs and like Roy Sullivan. But otherwise, I think it's still going to continue like this. Of the Earth surface is covered by water. Okay, so this exercise is a bit of a sort of a mix between active and passive, depending on the prompts you have, depending on what you have. So, so you need to pay attention to the organization, I think, of the sentence, because sometimes you don't need to use the passive, but sometimes I think you do. Okay, so this was an introduction into passives and how to use them. Let's see what we have in our next lesson, a quick preview. Let's take a look. Okay, so in our next lesson, we will talk about, let's check. Containers, quantifiers, a bit of too much, many, not enough. So it's related to countable and uncountable. So these are like units, a tin of, a box of, a packet of. So these units, they will help make something which is uncountable, make it into countable. So instead of saying some milk, you can say a packet of milk, or a carton of milk is actually the one we need. Instead of saying some water, you can say a bottle of water. You get the idea? When you use a container or a unit, you change the uncountable into a countable unit, right? You get the idea? Yeah. So we'll talk about this. It's not too hard. Okay, I think it's a nice light lesson, next one, but it's quite useful. All right, so we'll cover this hopefully next lesson. That's all for today, and I'll see you next time, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good weekend. And there's conversation if you're free, of course, Noha, because you have 4 conversation lessons for your 2 months.
Yeah.
Whenever you want to take them, of course. I think you haven't used any of them, maybe once, right? After your new subscription. So this means you still have 3. Any Friday that you're free and you're in the mood, you're free to join at 7 o'clock, the second conversation class.
Yeah, thank you. But please just tell me if there's any new information about the lecture.
The literature one. Okay, yeah. I'll talk with the other one, with Raneem. I'll talk a little more with her. And if we get a 3rd student, it might be the price might be reasonable, and we might organize a day to have like a trial lesson, and see how it goes. Okay.
Okay.
All right then. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
غدوة إن شاء الله ما فكرتش في الكونفرزيشن عشان إيه.
I'm not sure, but think of topics. Think of something interesting and let me know. Maybe it's worth talking about. But I haven't planned anything yet, Brian.
Okay. المهم ما تاخدش من رنيم.
Okay. I won't.
أنا يعني نقول لك من توا.
Yeah. You suggest. We won't take her suggestions. Okay. All right then. Okay. So see you tomorrow. Bye. Bye bye.